We'll start with the Legacy Session 4, which is the Green Initiative, and that's introduced through by the Jocky family legacy from Hong Kong. So I'll be talking on their behalf this morning. A tribute to the illustrators Jocky family in Hong Kong who have lent credence to life's truth, that no matter how humble the beginnings, with benevolence and hard work, a family can achieve unprecedented heights. Who in their real quest to meet greater challenges in life traveled Destiny's long road from Nursery all the way to Hong Kong and set up businesses in vegetable oils, cotton goods, silk and ivory, and rose to really great heights. Who with their virtues of honesty, integrity and probability built a reputation for themselves and kept the family values intact. Who as their guiding principle believed that giving is better than receiving, and no success or achievement in material terms is really worthwhile unless it serves the interest of the community. Who with a real characteristic foresight and thoughtfulness bestowed their wealth, time and again upon India and have constructed the spacious Avabag in Navsari, a sprawling property that is home to 2,000 Parsis. Who, when it comes to success, more than any milestone in business, completed the Jokhi wing at the BD Petit Parsi General Hospital in Mumbai, etching a triumphant story of saving lives and helping the needy when really needed. Who in their real quest to support religious causes for the community established in Shapoji, Fakriji Jokhi Agaria, Godrej Bagh in Mumbai again, in loving memory of late Shapoji Fakri Jokhi, a noble and renowned soul, who was the first to arrive from the Jokhi family in Hong Kong. Today, Keki Jocky, the benevolent brother of Shapoji Fakriji Jokhi, and his two sons, Rustam Jokhi and Burgess Jokhi, have added a new dimension to this legacy and continue their philanthropic work by supporting innumerable causes worldwide and provide support to the Ratanji Hospital, Red Cross, and Save the Children in Hong Kong all over. Who with their real motto in life say, enjoy but don't destroy life's precious bounties. Who with their actions have inspired others to dream more, learn more, and do more, and believe that success emanates from aspirations, desperations, respirations, and inspirations. It can come in many forms. It can be professional, material, spiritual, or in seeing the joy of your family and community really doing well and prospering. This nobility of theirs has made every Zoroastrian proud of this esteemed family, and no words of ours, though written in glow, no chapter that our hands can weave, no testimony that our personal knowledge can bring will add anything to this flame of philanthropy that has been kept alive by the esteemed Jocky family. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a loud round of applause, please. For the entire and their legacy, contribution, and everything they have done over the years. So let's begin introducing all our top three speakers today. Our first speaker will be Benafsha Shroff. Benafsha is an American-born professional currently working in Bombay. She has long been involved in the community, starting at Gary Connect with Dinsha Mystery, a website that enables Zoroastrians living abroad to get prayer services performed at temples in India, simultaneously supporting the priestly profession. Prior to moving to India in 2011, Benafsha was studying political science at the University of Denver, where she earned a BA and was involved in various green initiatives. Benafsha enjoys traveling and the Denver Broncos for sure. A speaker too, Yaiyenti Pavri. Yaiyenti has finished her schooling life as of October this year and is hoping to be accepted into the University of New South Wales with a Bachelor of Psychology. Although some individuals view Zoroastrianism as one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions, she believes that there are the merit of factor and that make an individual a Zoroastrian, as she has attempted to live by the three main teachings of Hara Mazda: the good thoughts, the good words, and the good deeds in her daily life. During her speech, she will be addressing her interpretation of Zoroastrianism and implementing religion in our daily lives. And last but not the least, the man who is power-packed with entertainment all the time. He lives in my house. Speaker number 3, Kayras Irani. Kayras Darayush Irani was born in Abu Dhabi, UAE, along with his younger brother. He and his family immigrated to Ontario, Canada in the 90s, where they resided for 5 years before moving across the country to Richmond, BC, which is British Columbia. Kayras works for the British Columbia Ambulance Service and has been a paramedic for over 7 years. He has been an active volunteer with the Zoroastrian Society of British Columbia since 2009. Kayras' presentation will focus on Zoroastrianism and the Green Initiative. Kayras is not a scholar by any means. He's a simple guy with simple ideas and beliefs. More than anything, he tries to look at everything from a half-classical perspective. Instead of lecturing his listeners about what Zoroastrians are not doing for the environment, he's going to give examples of what is being done. He will attempt to present on burial traditions practiced by Zoroastrians for centuries in Iran and now in India. He will also highlight accomplishments by the present day, Zoroastrian societies globally, and their attempts at environmental preservation and repair. Ladies and gentlemen, our top three speakers, Benafsha Shroff, Yaiyenti Pavri, and Kayras Irani.
15 in the morning, or 25 in the morning, depending on where you're coming from. You guys are still on IST or wherever it is. So we're going to keep it simple, and we're going to try to get it a little interactive as well, okay? Topics that are being discussed, they all share something in common, and we're going to check back with you guys to make sure that you're sort of catching on with it. If I see any of you sleep, I have a sniper on the right-hand side of the screen, and I'll take you out one at a time with water guns. Alright, we're going to discuss, or Benafsha is going to discuss the Benafsha Shroff, and it's going to be a brief Zoroastrianism 101 discussion with you guys, okay? Benafsha, the Nowruz Gumbars, we're going to talk about the environment and from a global perspective. Burial traditions in Iran and India, and finally we're talking about Zoroastrians taking on vegan initiatives worldwide. So with that being said, and finally, what we need to do is stay green. That's important. So with that being said, I will pass it on to Benafsha.
Good morning, everyone. So we're going to kind of just go through a little quick lesson. Most of you already, I think, know some of this, so just a refresher on how the Benafsha Shroff tie into what we're talking about today. So obviously we have Aramas creations. The 6 creations that we're going to focus on today are just talking about how they tie in to everything that's happening with the environment today. Obviously animals, sun, fire, sky, earth, water, plants, and then us. Yay! We're the ones that are responsible for protecting these, for cherishing them, and really making sure that they're sustainable for future generations. Nowruz. How many of you guys have partaken in Nowruz celebrations? Yay! It's the new day that happens in the spring, right? And there are tables set up, and your parents are getting everything ready, maybe even have some cleaning duties, maybe. But on those half-seen tables, what's very interesting, what we wanted to bring to your attention is that there are 7 out of these 8 items that are up on the slide that all represent something that comes from the earth. So even in our traditions, even in our customs, we're seeing that we are making sure we pay some sort of tribute to different things that are in and around our environment. So lots of different things. There's the wheat pudding, the garlic. At least 7 of these 8 are on the table, as well as all the other items on the table that represent the Benafsha Shroff. So we have, for the fire, somebody will put like a diva on the table. There'll be a fish in a bowl for the animals, a mirror for humans. All of our Benafsha Shroff are represented on that table. Little shout out to Obama at the table. USA, where are you? USA! Gumbars. These are really fun. Did I go off? Gumbars. Ooh, welcome. Wake up. Gumbars, these are great as well, not just for meeting and socializing and having that great food, but there are actually 6 of them in a year. We typically celebrate 1 nowadays, but there are 6, and the relevance of this is that each of those 6 are representing a change in the season. So it's not just to get together and eat or whatever, it's actually to honor the fact that these seasons are changing. And I'm not going to butcher all 6 of them, but I'm going to put them up there for you guys and just let you know what each of them are. The first one is mid-spring. That happens when there's plenty of fruits and vegetables, yeah? The second is the beginning of summer. It's also the summer solstice and the time for gathering of these fruits. The third is the end of summer. The fourth is the fall equinox, so when the sun passes the Earth's equator as it tilts, the southern hemisphere gets warmer than the northern. We have the next one is the winter solstice. This one's really important because when the farmers, the animals, they're all getting ready to rest, there are also animals that are going into hibernation. So that's really important. And then we have the last one, which is probably the most popular. That's the Nowruz spring equinox, when the sun passes the Earth equator again and it tilts and the northern hemisphere gets warmer than the southern. So again, just to kind of summarize on the Gumbars, something that's specifically a tradition honoring the fact that the season's changing, that we are in line with the Earth, that there's a deeper connection to us being on this planet. And with that, we just kind of want to tell you guys that all of those things tie in so well with how we're wanting to preserve the Earth. We don't want to come away from the Earth and not have something to show for it that we've been able to contribute. And I think Kayras is going to give you a picture of how maybe that isn't happening right now.
Okay, thank you, Benafsha. So let's actually just get started with some questions, right? So show of hands, right? Just let us know what you think, or just give us your feedback with regards to the questions asked. First question: how many of you folks experienced the warmest summer on record in your cities? Just the hottest. So everybody start looking around and see the hands that are up. I think almost, well, there's some in the front row, not really, but everybody else in the back? Yeah? All right, next question. How many of you came from a nation that had forest fires this past year, or this past summer? I'm up there. BC had so many forest fires, we have to get our Australian friends to come over and help us fight them. So, and they're pretty experienced with them, so shout out to Australia for that.
Woo!
Third question. How many of you experienced droughts this past summer? So when your reservoirs dried up. We did too. In British Columbia, we had such a mild winter. So 5 years ago, we held the Winter Olympics. And we were kind of concerned about it because we had to produce artificial snow in order to cover the mountains. This past summer, or this past winter, we didn't have snow on the mountains. And so in the summertime, nothing was melting off the mountains, therefore we were like a stage 4 water restriction, and 5 is pretty, like, you can't go anywhere past 5. Fourth question, how many of you are currently experiencing the coldest winter on record, coldest winter or record-breaking snowfalls right now? Anybody? Okay, a couple of you. All right. Last question. And we won't talk about Australia, but how many of you guys had your flights to New Zealand delayed because of harsh weather conditions? Hormones, yeah, he did. Was it a snowstorm or tornado, or what was it? Thunderstorm, okay. I remember the LA Congress last year, LA, right? Everybody was coming to that, and oh my goodness, ridiculous. Like, at least a good 1/3 of everybody had some sort of delay with flights. Okay, so those are the questions. Now, I could give you numbers. I could tell you, like, oh my God, you know, this many trees burned down last year. But really, I don't know who counts every single tree and says, oh my God, 150 million trees burned down last year. I don't know. I just don't know where those numbers come from. So, I mean, they're great, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a visual perspective. Everybody knows NASA. NASA, yeah. They have satellites around our globe. They take a look at different conditions that affect the environment. The first one is fires. So this is over the last 15 years. You can see the time lapse up there. What do we have just in the middle of our Earth? What was that? Equator. Do you see where the most amount of fires happen right now? Right in that area, in South America. And as we progress, you're going to see that there's a lot more of it. And why is that? Does anybody know what's surrounding our Earth? The ozone layer. So if we skip forward, and you can always look at this, but you'll skip forward and you'll see a lot more fires in the last 5 years or so. Benafsha will take us on to the next one. So with fire, there's something that pollutes our environment as well, and it's carbon monoxide. Same stuff that you can actually get out of your cars. Alright, so with the fires, they're gonna pollute the environment that way. And the red spots, obviously, again, right around the equator. Right? But then at the same time, you can see spots here and there because we're having issues with the ozone. The next one, please. So we did fires. Now the third one, rainfall. Not that bad, actually. Right? But if you look at Africa, look at their landmass, they don't get a lot of it. White shows the least amount of rainfall available, of course. BC's over there, and we get too much of it, so. Next. Alright, this is a pretty important one. Snowfall, snow cover. See all the north? There's the south. But if you look at this, and if we keep forwarding eventually, you're going to see that it starts to deplete every year. That's Antarctica, right? Antarctica. That's the one. So you're going to see that it starts to shrink, shrink, shrink. And then obviously New Zealand's right around here, Australia is here, and you get a little bit of snow here and there. But over the last 15 years, again, we get less of it, of course. And last but not least, we're going to look at vegetation. So vegetation includes your crops. It looks like your trees, it looks at farmland, everything like that. And again, a lot of that's destroyed because of the fire. Left hand up. With the one hand on this side, the other hand on this side. Just do this one. Sit back. Spirits. Okay.
We had to wake you up after you were.
Yeah, maybe. You guys are digging your own graves now. Alright guys, let's talk about some actual stuff that Zoroastrians are doing worldwide. Okay? So, we'll just go right into it. I gotta represent ZSBC. Shout out to all my BC folks. I only see one right now. Okay. So ZSBC, not only ZSBC, but there's so many organizations that do this. The newsletter. Back, like maybe about 5 years ago, we were doing paper copies. So just give you a perspective as to our community that I know very well. There's about 800 families. There's about 3,000 individuals. We have 4 newsletters that go out a year, and every 3 months. And then each newsletter has about 8 pages to it. So if we were mailing all those out, including the envelope and everything, how many trees would we be killing just for that reason? So a lot of us have resulted or resorted to electrical copies, right? I know so many people do it, Design does it, and I know internationally a lot of people do it as well. Where are my New York folks at? New York.
Woo!
Oh my God, all but one of them. All right. So New York, and I believe New Zealand is also working on this. New York with so the Zoroastrian Association of Greater New York, along with the Iranian Zoroastrian Association, came together and decided we're going to build a new Dharma. They did that 3 years ago. With obviously environmentally friendly materials and insulating it effectively to consume less energy. And like I said, New Zealand, I think they're working on this. I was talking to somebody about it a little while ago. And these guys are almost done. So they got 3 months left until opening. March 2016, that's what they're planning to do. So let's give them a round of applause. I believe Ontario is also planning to do another one as well. I've just heard rumors. We'll talk about Iran for a second. Iran, they have their bogs, and the bogs are basically gardens. They're managed and maintained by Zoroastrians, in Iran, and these facilities need to be maintained to sustain the local ecosystem. So they have those going on there as well. Shout out to my New Zealand crew, guys. Give them a round of applause. Yeah. So, she was talking about the Q Haven initiative. So, Zoroastrian Youth in New Zealand, of course. A part of this Congress, what they did was, collect donations from registrants and from external donors and things like that. And for every 10 bucks or so, they planted a tree in the Q Haven area. And just want to double check, but tonight you said, what was the final number of trees?
522.
522. So a very, very good initiative and a very good team bonding exercise as well. So just want to quickly just get an idea, what are you guys doing? Does anybody know what they're doing in their local communities? Can anybody just give me something like a green initiative that you can think of? Anybody? Jimmy? Yeah.
Okay, Zing from Bombay, basically we had a recycle drive where we collected all recyclable material from various colonies, sent it to a recycling unit, and all the proceeds therefrom for use for charity across the country.
Wow. Give it a round of applause. I'd really like to talk to a lot of you, but just sort of speed it up a little bit. But great, Zing did a job done. And let's just go a little bit forward. So we will pass it on to Yaiyenti.
So, I'm just going to start off and ask you a question. Don't say it out loud. Just think about it. What was the proudest moment you ever had in your life? Okay, so maybe it was winning an award. Maybe it was finishing a university degree, finishing a book, something like that. Now, how many of you can say that this moment made an impact? Do you think it changed the world, your country, your city? Did it change anyone else's life apart from your own? So, I'm sure these are all great achievements, don't get me wrong. But we have a lot of life ahead of us. So, we think, oh yeah, okay, we can make an impact later in life. But in comparison to the 4.5 billion years the Earth has been existing, we don't actually have that much time left. So if you died tomorrow, do you believe that you left the world better than how you started? How many of you can say that of the 15, just 15, or 35 years of existence, can say that it made a difference, a positive difference around you? My personal biggest fear is that when I leave the Earth, the world actually has gotten worse. So, maybe no one else thinks that, but I'm sure at one point in your life you've asked, what is my purpose? This question is unanswerable, of course, but perhaps together we can get a bit closer to clarifying it. A religion such as ours can obviously help in answering this. When you look up Zoroastrianism on the internet, the common definition is the oldest monolithic religion according to BBC and all that. But this isn't what our religion is restricted to. This definition doesn't capture the essence of who we are and what it means to be a Zoroastrian. Zoroastrianism cannot be defined by one sentence because it means different things to different people. But to me, it means good words, good thoughts, and good deeds. And it can teach us so much about how to live our lives and make a positive impact on the world around us. So our Moses' teachings have always consisted of preserving the environment in his 7 creations. These 7 creations serve to act as a symbol of our Moses' beauty and how grateful we are to live in such a world. I personally believe there are 2 kinds of happiness. There is a superficial, temporary happiness and a more profound, deeper happiness. So the superficial happiness comes from watching a favourite TV show, eating, sleeping, all that stuff. And then the more deeper kind of happiness comes from observing a butterfly or a flower or something like that. So without the environment around us, if it ever goes away because of the decrease we're going through right now, where do we find this kind of happiness, this more profound kind of happiness? 4,000 years ago, the prophet Zoroaster preached that humankind, as the 7th creation, must protect the other 6 creations. So sky, water, earth, plants, animal, fire, all that. If this is Moses' way of telling us what our purpose is as a human race, are we fulfilling it? Since the power of science and industrialization, man has not used this power wisely and his success has taken a great toll on the other species. During the 3 minutes or however long I've been speaking, 108 football fields of trees have been cut down. It is said that the material world is created to help human progress, but at the end of time, we have to give it back to Ara Mazda and its perfect original form. So how close are we to achieving this? Are we anywhere close to our purpose, which Ara Mazda has set for us? I'm just going to quickly say a story. So in 1881, a professor asked his student whether it was God who created everything that exists in the universe. And the student goes, yes. He asks again, what about evil? Has God created evil? And the student says, well, he goes all silent. And then he goes, does cold exist? And the professor goes, of course, yes, cold exists. The student then says, no, you're wrong. Cold does not exist, it's actually the absence of heat. Then he just says again, does darkness exist? And the professor again goes, yes, of course. And the student goes, no, darkness is the absence of light. So similarly, we can say that evil is actually the absence of love, good deeds, and faith in God. The world is at a stage where it's a cosmic battle being waged between the forces of good and evil, and humans must make an individual decision of which side they support. If we don't attempt to help the creations around us, making good deeds, we're doing essentially nothing. Just like in the story I mentioned before, evil is the absence of good deeds. So even if we're not directly contributing to the destruction of the creations, by doing so, by not doing anything at all, we're harming the environment just as much as a logger or like a butcher or anything like that. So, humans have a special and unique role in that RMS enlisted our species to aid in the struggle against evil, promising eternal life to those who choose to do so. So ultimately, we have two choices: to follow the path that Aramazda has set for us, for the human race by deliberately actioning our thoughts and words, or we can blindly live day-to-day life existence. Which one will you choose?
Everyone, thank you very, very much for coming and listening to us. Just to quickly summarize, whether it's Zoroastrianism, holidays, religious practices, they all revolve around our religion in one form or the other. What we do to our environment now will affect what happens to it in the future. Take care of it, preserve it for your generation and the next. Thank you very much, guys.